Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, what is up? The king of lightning is here today, bringing you guys and gals Bleach, Tate Kubo's finest work. Chapter 672 through 674 review. Now, we have kind of a lot of stuff to cover, kind of. And that mainly comes from chapter 674. Chapters 672 and 73 are actually very simple. From a pacing standpoint, those two are relatively quick, pacing and structure-wise. But chapter 674 actually has a lot more dialogue. When it comes to Ichigo talking to Juha, when it comes to the dialogue between Byakuya and Renji, and Rukia, and then Byakuya and Hitsugaya, and then you have Hashfall talking to Uryu about like what comprises a person, the scale of the good and bad that you've done over your life, and what is Ishida, like who is Ishida really? And then you have Ryūken and Isshin finally hop in there, and then they have their own set of dialogue as well. So there is a lot more dialogue in chapter 674 compared to chapter 671, 672 and 73. That is for sure. So let me do chapters 672 and 73 together. No, fuck that. I'll do them all together in one broad brush, but I'm going to focus mainly on chapter 674. So like I said before, when it comes to the pacing and the structure, those two chapters, chapters 672 and 73, are actually relatively simple and straightforward. Chapter 674 has a lot more dialogue, therefore the overall structure and the overall pacing is not as quick as the previous two chapters. Now when it comes to the story progression, Gerard Valkyrie is not dead in chapter 672. The man, the freak of nature, the heart of the Soul King, still continues beating. He will not go down. He will not cease. And what's fascinating is, at this point in time, Gerard has been mouthing off like crazy. Now that he's reached this new state, he has not said a goddamn word. In chapters 672 through 74, he has not said a goddamn thing. So I have to wonder, why is that exactly? I still believe that there is a possibility that this is just the heart of the Soul King itself. I mean, it appears to be attacking, it is attacking Byakuya and company, because we do see this in chapter 674. But I'm wondering why no words have been spoken by like this giant sentinel Reishi Gerard. Like, I'm just wondering why, because he's been mouthing off constantly, and now he's silent, shut. So, like, he's playing Silent Library, but he's still here. He's still doing his thing, which is very surprising given the fact that, Hitsugai's in his new form now. You got Kenpachi, go up against Gerard and massively wounded. Even Byakuya, Byakuya, you thought that it was a kill shot, but no, the freak is still coming back. Number 2 for story. It's Ichigo and Juha finally have their confrontation. Now, Juha was dreaming in chapter 672, and then they actually start to engage in combat in 73. And what is shocking to me is Ichigo using a new technique called Getsuga Tensho. Getsuga! Oh, baby, Tensho! I want to see some new fucking shit. For fuck's sakes, man. Can we please get something new? Oh. You're fighting against the would-be god of the verse, Juha. Blech. And he's talking shit about moms, talking shit about pops, how Isshin was a surrogate father. I was the one that gave birth to you. This is a dude. Yuha's a freaking man, and he's like, I gave birth to you. I'm like, bro, like, you know what he means exactly. He's saying this shit, it's funny, and he's talking shit about mom, and of course Ichigo hates that, and he's going in their head first. Now, Orihime and Ichigo, there was supposed to be some tag team, you know, some cool stuff going on there between those two. And she does protect him for like a little bit, but her shield gets just decimated on every level, gets cut in half, swept to the side, and Ichigo is going in there head first. Now, here's the thing. Even though Orihime, for the most part, is useless as of now, I can't say that she won't be in the future, but as of right now, Orihime is fucking useless. There is no denying that. Let me repeat that. As of right now, Orihime, Inoue, fucking shocker to the whole damn universe, is useless. Oh my god. Didn't see that one coming. And guess what? It's Ichigo's fault. Ichigo, instead of being calm, instead of being calm, cool, and collected, instead of, you know, trying to work out some plans with Orihime, trying to find openings in Yuha's defenses, he's going in there head first, gets to Tensho, swing, 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 and here Yuha is, like, I mean, he's sitting down, he's chilling, the darkness that he's controlling is literally murking Ichigo, he gets slammed to a wall, finally he stands up, the time is now, and, like, Orihime is special, her power should be somewhat super effective against Yuha, bleh. But nothing's happened yet, maybe it will happen in the future, but as of right now, I'm getting no signs. Because right now it's Ichigo running in head first, like, you, and I'm like what? Like, I don't get it. You would think after the whole thing with the Royal Cork God Squad and how when he was falling down, you had Ichibe, he has matured, and you get that sense from him initially, and then he keeps on contradicting this whole mature aspect of his supposed growth. Every fucking other chapter. It's Ichigo! No! Just calm down, bro. Alright, just take it easy. Like, I understand why he's mad. This is the guy who killed his mom. This is the guy who is trying to destroy all three realms. But this wouldn't be such a big deal if, again, there wasn't a reoccurring theme of him attaining a certain level of maturity, of him attaining a certain level of calm, cool, and collective reasoning. That's all I'm going to say on that matter. When you have this fight between Yuha and Ichigo, there is weird contradictions in the battle, where in chapter 674, and this chapter I say it specifically, because the dialogue in this chapter kind of like contradicts itself. But let me read to you what Yuha says around page like 5 or 6. So Yuha says, and this is again chapter 674, he says this: "You will be devoured by me. Your death is inevitable. So let's not rush things and enjoy ourselves a bit more. You have no idea how much time it took and how many sets of circumstances had to line up just right to have you created." And then he says, "So cease your impetuousness and stop making light of your oh so important life." Okay, so previously he's saying you'll be devoured by me, your death is inevitable, and then he says stop making light of your oh so important life. And then he follows up that statement by saying your body, your power, they were never yours alone to begin with, Ichigo. They've returned to their rightful owner. So spew out every last bit of your power and then die, Ichigo. And I'm like, so on one hand, your life is very important, but on the other hand, it's time to die, nigga. Like, what? I know that like the powers of the dead are supposed to return to Yuha. Like when a Quincy dies, their power goes back to Yuha. Like the Masculine, or maybe I should say James's powers did. So what I find strange is his powers stem from Yuha. So once he dies, the powers will return to Yuha, I suppose. But I always thought that Ichigo had like a bigger purpose for Yuha, as opposed to just, you know, dying so he can take his powers back So that is, in essence, the fight right now between Ichigo and Yuha. I can't even say Ichigo and Orihime, because Orihime right now, all she's doing is yelling, Ichigo, 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 I'm sorry, Kurosaki-kun, 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 and then she's like in the distance somewhere. It's mainly right now Ichigo and Yuha. And at some point, Ichigo's gonna get really mad, go Bankai, and then we're gonna see that Bankai, which should be pretty cool, because I'm hoping, to whatever sky god you believe in, that Ichigo is going to use something other than the Getsuga Juji show, and mainly the Getsuga goddamn Tensho. So, moving on from Ichigo and Yuha and Orihime, we have Haschwald and Uryu. This is really weird, because Haschwald stated when he had the powers, when he had the all-seeing eye powers, he stated that the man, Ishida, he was gonna be down before morning. Morning came, Ishida, he was clearly battered and bruised and wounded, but he was still fighting. But based on what Haschwald was saying, it was pretty much over. Like, Ishida had nothing left to offer. Okay, fine. And then at the end of chapter 672, we see Haschwald do like some kind of like star attack with his sword, and it appeared to be like the finishing blow. Okay. In chapter 673, we see Ishida, who appears to be, I mean, I can't say fine, but there's no signs of him taking that finishing move that Haschwald did against him in the previous chapter, chapter 672. And we see him feel the Reiatsu of Ichigo. Like, we see Rukia, Renji, Byakuya, Hitsugaya, and Ishida. They can feel the Reiatsu of Ichigo as Ichigo walks into Yua's chamber. So I'm wondering, okay, so between chapter 672 and chapter 673, what exactly happened between Haschwald and Uryu? Haschwald was going for like a kill shot. He had the sword thing going on, and then he threw it, like, you know, sword beam, and then it was flying towards Ishida, and then we cut off from there. In the next chapter, we see Ishida. So I'm like, what happened to the sword attack? Like, what, I don't. He fucking, thing, and then next chapter, oh, Ichigo. But what happened to the, I don't know. Like, it was, what? And then it gets even weirder in chapter 674, where in chapter 674, Ishida and Haschwald are having like full-on dialogue, and it's mainly Haschwald talking about who is Ishida really. We have all the stuff going on with Gerard Valkyrie. We have all the stuff going on with Ichigo and Yuha. We've had all these battles throughout the entirety of this arc thus far. And now, out of nowhere, who is the real Ishida Uryu? Like, what? Like, since fucking when? Since when was this a thing? Now, Haschwald, he's a character that just came in this arc, obviously. So this whole concept of the balance, of the right and wrong, is a fairly new concept within the series itself. I understand that. But what's weird is this whole notion that he, even though he had the powers of Yuha, he himself couldn't actually gauge who the true Ishida Uryu was. I mean, is that because Ishida Uryu, on one side, he joined Yuha and company, he drank his blood and whatnot. On the other side, it's so he could actually get a chance to take him down. I mean, as far as I can tell, if I were to measure Ishida Uryu for the entirety of the series of Bleach, he's been a good guy. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. I mean, granted, there were a lot of folks, including myself, nigga, there are a lot of folks, including myself, who really wanted to see Ishida go to the dark side once we saw that he was among Yuha's boys. However, even though he was a member of Weed M, even though he had drinking Yuha's blood, most of us kind of understood that given the track record of Ishida Uryu, he would be on the team of righteousness. He'd ultimately be the good guy. I mean, granted, it would have been cool to see him go complete heel, But that's not happening. So when he's saying all these things about who is the real Ishida Uryu and how he's trying to measure the scale of right and wrong when it comes to Ishida Uryu, I mean, given the entirety of Bleach, I mean, he's clearly a good guy. He's clearly a babyface as opposed to a heel. That I think is very obvious. So I find that a little bit strange. And it's something that I think is also out of place when it comes to this whole thing involving Ishida and Hashfog. And also keep in mind that this chapter, for that particular segment, it ends off with Ishida bring out a new Quincy-like bow, which means that he still has more stuff to go when it comes to his powers. So this even more so puts into question the powers to see into the future. Hashfog said that this shit was gonna be over before morning, at least something along those lines. And Hashfog at the time had the freaking eyes, all right? He could see into the future. And yet, here Uryu stands, once again, with a new weapon at his disposal. So, Mr. I could see into the future, and I knew that Uryu was going to be taken down before morning. Again, something along those lines. Here he is, he's still there, and he's still fighting back. And now he has new shit. Strange. So again, the powers of the Almighty, the seed to the future, like no problems at all, are once again being put into question. So the last part of the story progression is going to be, finally, Father's Day comes. Even though it's technically a little bit early by our standards, Father's Day in Bleach came, and lo and behold, we have, and that's why it's called probably Father 1, Father 2, this whole segment of chapters. But we have, finally, Isshin and Ryūken. They're here. They're in. Fucking finally. My guess here is that Isshin's going to go to where Ichigo is, and Ryuken's going to go to where Uryu is. He must, because Uryu right now is having some problems with Hashfog. And Ryūken, we have to ask this man so many more goddamn questions than Isshin. Because Isshin, we knew for the most part what he was doing. I mean, he had a role to play in this arc, because he was the one that informed Ichigo of his true past. However, Ryūken has been just MIA forever. MIA for fucking ever. Dude, this is major shit involving the Quincy. You came back before to assist Uryu in regaining his Quincy powers. But when it comes to a freaking Quincy war, alright, a freaking blood war, you are MIA, sir. What the fuck is this? I mean, what? No, I mean, the fact that your son was under the wing for a period of time, he seemed to be under the wing of Juha Bach, and you do nothing? Ryūken, no. We have to interrogate the living shit out of Ryūken. Alright, we need to have an intervention with Ryūken, straight up. Because this motherfucker, not exactly, I mean, Isshin, I wouldn't say is exactly a good parent. But he does try. You can see that in earnest. Ryūken, I would say he's a lot worse. A lot worse. But fuck, it is what it is. I mean, shit, Isshin, he does have to take care of 2 little girls, plus Ichigo as well. So, I'll give him that much at least. When it comes to Ishida and Ryūken, their bond between father and son is wow, it's on really shaky ground. Like, we're talking about like a waterbed shaky ground, alright? Shit, goddamn. Then you have Rukia and Renji, they are now gonna go up and they're gonna assist Ichigo and company against Juha. That being said, that is the overall story progression. That being said, when it comes to characterization and character development, I think Ichigo, I mean, I want to say he's regressed, But at the same time, it's always been a thing where his character fluctuates when it comes to, I'm mature. No, my mom. I'm mature. No, you're not my dad. Okay, you think he's mature, and then the next second, no, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to be mature yet. No, I wasn't ready to drive a car. No, I don't want my license. All right, Ichigo. Then we have Byakuya for a bit. And Byakuya, you can see where he does display this earnest care about Rukia and Renji. And you know what? Hold on. This reminds me of something that I'm kind of confused about now. So in this chapter, Byakuya says something about something being on Yuha's level. And initially, I thought that he was talking about Gerard Valkyrie, because Gerard Valkyrie is the heart of the freaking Soul King. So if there's anything that is going to be on Yuha's level, it should be Gerard Valkyrie, because he's the heart of the Soul King. However, he could be possibly talking about Ichigo, which I know is no. Ichigo, at least at this point in time, he has not displayed powers anywhere close to Yuha. But let me read to you what he says. Talking to Rukia and Renji. You two go join up with Kurosaki Ichigo. Huh? But Nisama, I'm sure you can sense his Reiatsu. That thing is on Yuha's level. Okay. So when he says, I'm sure you can sense his Reiatsu, that sounds more like Ichigo. But then he says, that thing is on Yuha's level. That's kind of weird in of itself, because if he's talking about Gerard, and he says that Gerard is on Yuha's level, then all the more reason to stay fucking here, because Gerard's on Yuha's level. But at the same time, when he says, I'm sure you can sense his Reiatsu, his probably means not Gerard, but Ichigo. So, because I was confused about this particular segment of the chapter, what I did was I waited until the Viz translation came out, and the Viz translation, that particular same segment, here's what Byakuya says to Rukia and Renji. He says this, you two head to where Ichigo is. What? But Byakuya, look at the spiritual pressure. He's already confronting Yuha. So, if you were confused about that like I was, after reading the chapter, because I thought it was Gerard, but no, he's talking about Ichigo. And when he says he's on Yuha's level, what he actually means, based on the Viz translation, is that not where he is from a power standpoint, but from a position standpoint. From a position standpoint, Ichigo is already where Yuha is. And he's noting that right now Ichigo is already confronting Yuha. So he needs your assistance. So that was good to know. Good to go back and reread the chapter from the Viz translation. So getting back on the characterization, Ichigo covered, Byakuya covered. We have Hitsugaya, who talks about what a Shinigami was taught at the spiritual academy, something like that, when it came to what they protect, what they fight for. Not necessarily superiors or family, but more so friends and humans. The military thing I can understand more so. But family, friends, and humans, I think is, yeah, that makes a lot more sense. But whatever, I'm nitpicking, it is what it is. And finally, to wrap this whole video up, when it comes to character introductions, Isshin has already had some bit in this arc, so he's okay for the most part. Ryūken is the real shocker, because Ryūken hasn't done a goddamn thing, even though you would think he would have done something at some points, given this chaos involving the Quincy and the Shinigami. So that being said, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I am done. When it comes to the average chapter rating, that is going to be a good. And I will see you guys and gals later. King Lightning, rate the video, comment, and subscribe as always. Peace! Have a nice goddamn day.